What's up, everybody? Welcome into a fresh week and another episode of Bulls Latest. I want to kick off this week by thanking Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video, guys. I've got a great show on tap for you guys to start the week. First, take advantage of $75 in bonus entries after playing just your first $5 today, guys. All you got to do to get in on all the great NBA action the rest of the way is scan the QR code at the top of the page to get started today. I'm going to start the show today, guys, recapping the Bulls' 120-97 blowout win on Sunday at the United Center over the Milwaukee Bucks. This snaps the Bulls' season-high 11-game skid with that win over Milwaukee at the United Center. Josh Giddey led the way, guys. He had 20 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 assists, a monster triple-double for the Bulls. Colin Sexton also had one of his better games since becoming a Bull. He finished with 22 points in the winning effort. Matas Buzelis had a solid performance, adding 20 points and 7 rebounds. Overall, guys, the Bulls had 7 players in double figures and 35 assists as a unit. The Bulls really locked down Milwaukee defensively down the stretch, too. The Bucks scored just 8 points in the final 13 minutes of the game there. A nice surprise for the Bulls, guys. Leonard Miller had a career-high 15 points in 27 minutes for the Bulls in the win as well. I can't remember, guys, if you had a chance to watch this game, the last time that I saw a 27-0 run in an NBA game. We saw it yesterday. The Bucks went over 7 minutes without a bucket. You talk about dominating a game and dominating a win and getting in out of a funk there. A 27-0 run is what you need to do that, and that's what we saw. That's one hell of a way to get out of a slump, guys. And just looking at the performances overall, Josh Giddey, this guy continues to be the method of consistency for this Bulls team. He would go on to grab, and this was his 8th triple-double of the season. That's a career high for him, guys, and that's his 15th as a Bull, and he tied the Bulls legend, Scottie Pippen, for second most in franchise history, second most triple-doubles. So a piece of history there. We saw that 27-0 run. What a day for the Chicago Bulls. This came at a great time. It's been a really, really tough stretch of basketball. Just one day into the month of March, as we flip the calendar, the Bulls are in the win column here, guys. So an exciting way to start the month for the Bulls nonetheless. Wanted to kind of switch gears and look at building off of this win and what the Bulls have coming up on the upcoming schedule. They have an off day on Monday before taking on none other than the defending champion in the Western Conference leading Oklahoma City Thunder Tuesday night at the United Center. It's the final game of this long homestand for the Bulls. Following that one, the Bulls go on a 5-game West Coast trip that starts Thursday night in Phoenix. They'll cap off the week with a contest Sunday night against the league worst Sacramento Kings. So that'll certainly be an interesting one to tune into as well, to see how that plays out, as both teams are looking at grabbing a top pick in the upcoming draft. So certainly going to be an interesting week ahead, guys. We got a lot of fun things to get to in the rest of the show here. Still that 27-0 run has me a little bit shook as a Bulls fan. I can't remember the last time in my lifetime that I saw a 27-0 run by the Chicago Bulls to take advantage of winning a basketball game in that fashion, knowing what was on the line with the 11-game losing streak. It was crazy to see, and the United Center certainly brought the energy, and it was fun considering it's been a really, really tough stretch of basketball for Bulls fans. The energy was there in the United Center yesterday, and that was fun to see. So jumping into the Underdog segment today, guys, fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy, guys. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Today on Underdog, guys, I'm looking at the Celtics and Bucks game. The Bucks play a back-to-back at home. They will host Boston. I'm going to select Jaylen Brown to go higher than 28.5 points, and Celtics Nikola Vucevic to go higher than 11.5 points there. I just think Milwaukee is still pretty shaken up on that run yesterday that we saw, that 27-0 run by the Bulls to ultimately blow out the Milwaukee Bucks. Quick turnaround for them against a really good Boston Celtics team, a surging Boston Celtics team. I like both those players to go higher on their points, guys. Use promo code BasketballFan to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5, guys.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text PMI 467-369.
All right, jumping back into things, guys. Let's turn the page and talk a little bit about what's to come here. And it's fastly approaching, but the Chicago Bulls offseason and a little offseason outlook for you guys. It's a very, very crucial and important offseason on the horizon for the Chicago Bulls. We have now just 21 games remaining in the regular season. It's never too early to kind of look at what's ahead, and for what the Bulls must do to capitalize on such an important offseason for this organization. They're 5 full games back of Charlotte now for the final play-in spot. It's looking more and more like a lock that the Bulls will miss the postseason for the first time since 2020 and 2021, that campaign when they finished 31-41, just outside of the newly installed play-in format that the league had implemented there, that the Bulls have been all too accustomed to making the last 3 or so years here. They've been playing merchants, guys. So looking back at that COVID year, 2020, 2021, the Bulls, it was the last time they finished outside of the field. If they can, it'd be ideal to tank hard enough. And I know, teams will not come out and say that they're tanking. It's pretty easy to see the writing on the wall. But if the Bulls can do that well enough the rest of the way to land a top 4 draft pick, they could potentially land either North Carolina forward Caleb Wilson or University of Illinois guard, who I've talked about and profiled already for you guys, Keaton Wagler. I think both of those players are exceptional. I would love for Caleb Wilson to be a Bull as well, guys. This guy is a monster. You're seeing North Carolina play at new heights because of this kid. We will certainly continue to keep tabs on both of those guys. As well as the Portland Trailblazers, guys, putting, them at the forefront of the attention. If they make the postseason, the Bulls can land yet another first-round pick. And for a team that could really speed up the process in terms of a rebuild with 2 first-round picks, guys, that would be monstrous. Portland is currently 10th in the Western Conference, just a game and a half behind the Clippers for the 9 spot. So let's keep pulling for the Portland Blazers, guys. We're all Portland Trailblazers fans the rest of the way this year. Looking ahead to free agency, we have, an initial plan in place that could look something like this. You could let Yabusele, Zach Collins and Colin Sexton walk, although Colin Sexton looked really good on Sunday. That's a player I could see the Bulls giving a shot to next year. I could also, Zach Collins probably on his way out, guys, had monster injury issues this year. Yabusele, I don't know where he fits in, although he's been a decent player since they traded for him. I don't know where he fits in the rest of the way. Looking at Jaden Ivey, guys, he could be signed to a cheap deal to bring him back. He's a restricted free agent this next year. I've talked about him numerous times here since they've acquired him. I think there's value in bringing him back, even with the constant knee issues that he's shown since he's come over in that trade there. He's been kind of a disappointment in the short term, but I think there's just too much there in terms of an opportunity for a guy who's going to cost next to nothing. I think it's a decent opportunity to retain a guy who, could be an interesting guy to have on the roster moving forward. As far as a key signing goes, and this was a name that I kind of saw pop up in looking at what's going to be available here this coming offseason, Robert Williams III. I think he, for a few reasons, and we can get into this in later episodes, but he would be a pretty fun fit for the Chicago Bulls. This is a high-energy guy, a guy who has that playoff experience with the Boston Celtics. Now, I know he's kind of struggled since leaving Boston, hasn't necessarily been the same impactful player that we saw with the Boston Celtics when they were, making those playoff runs there. But I think Robert Williams has the high energy and the tempo necessary to be in a roster or a part of a roster such as the Chicago Bulls, and kind of a bolt of energy for this organization. I think he could be an interesting add and a name to keep an eye on. So Rob Williams the third, guys, is a name to keep your eye toward as we move into the off season. So we're going to have plenty more time to talk about the off season as it approaches here, guys. It's going to be a very, very critical one for the Chicago Bulls. I know fans are certainly excited. The Bulls finally have a ton of money to spend here. They could potentially have 2 first-round picks. They're already going to have their top pick of their own. But the Portland Blazers could provide an opportunity for the Bulls to really make a push at this thing this offseason in this upcoming draft as well. So capping off the show today, guys, I want to continue and I will do this as we move throughout the final 20 or so games this year, but a tank update, guys. And I know, the Bulls, again, will not make the energy surround, a tank in an effort to do so. They will never, make that apparent, but it is pretty obvious that the Bulls are kind of putting themselves in the running to get one of those top picks there. It felt good as a fan to see the Bulls finally get a win in a ball game against the Milwaukee Bucks in the fashion that they did with a 27-0 run for the first time since New Year's Eve. Guys, they haven't won a basketball game since New Year's Eve. The first time in 2026, the Bulls have won a ball game. The first time in over a month, guys. They went winless in February. Just one day, on the first day of March, they get the victory there. However, the scoreboard watching continued, guys, and with sights still set on one of those top 3 or 4 picks in the upcoming draft, you're going to continue to have interest in these teams that are surrounding them at the bottom of the standings there. The Memphis Grizzlies also won on Sunday, beating the Pacers in blowout fashion, 125-106, keeping them just a game behind the Bulls for the league's 8th worst record. So we'll continue to watch here. Behind Memphis there is the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks are a little bit of ways in separation. It's going to be tough to catch them, guys. So realistically, as much as I want a top 3 or 4 pick there, it's going to be hard for me to see the Bulls getting past maybe 8th, 7th or 8th in those standings. So, as far as the offseason outlook and what to look at in terms of where they're probably going to end up, it'll be interesting to see how the Bulls kind of navigate this. In the short term, it's likely the Bulls are going to drop their next 2. I don't see them beating the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's for sure. And then the Phoenix Suns are having a very, very solid year, taking them in the middle of that playoff hunt in the Western Conference. I don't see the Bulls going on the road and beating them either. So before they take on the league worst Sacramento Kings, I think the Bulls could stack up 2 more losses here. I know kind of dampens the mood after that blowout win against the Milwaukee Bucks, but, I'm just a realist, guys, with this Bulls organization. I want to see them sustain success and get back into the hunt as being a perennial Eastern Conference a team here. So just looking forward to things. We have a busy week ahead here in terms of Chicago Bulls action. We're back in action here today, guys. Again, I want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Hit that QR code and scan it at the top of the page, guys, to get in on all the great NBA action this week on Underdog Fantasy and what they have to offer. That's going to do it for today's show, guys. I want to thank you guys for your constant support. We will see you guys tomorrow.